Okay. State your name for the record.
Full name?
Yeah.
Cheryl West Freeman.
Okay. Where were you born?
I was born in Newark, New Jersey, 1961.
Okay. What was it like? Was it a town?
Newark, New Jersey is a major city,
Okay.
and I was born, at the time we lived in a two-family house.
Mm-hmm.
We were on one of the levels of the two-family house. It's my mother, my father, and I'm the oldest. Later we moved to what you would call a projects, a high-rise apartments. But when I was born, we lived in a two-family house.
Interesting. Where did you go to school as a child?
Well, there was kindergarten, I guess, child care center, like a local community place. My favorite memory there was my younger sister Pam and I went there. I remember running around the playground area. But from first grade through 8th grade, we went to Queen of Angels Elementary School, which was a Catholic school in Newark, New Jersey, and it was run by the Oblate Sisters, which were an order of black nuns that are pretty well known
Interesting.
for their service and stuff in the black communities.
Can you explain what it was like being in a Catholic school?
It was small. I remember when I graduated 8th grade, we had one class of each grade. So the 8th grade had 16 girls. No, 16 boys and 8 girls.
Okay.
16 boys and 8 girls. It was small. You knew everybody. The parents were involved. They had bingo on the weekend, and the parents had to work bingo to help raise money for the school. And my sister Pam and I would work the bingo games. They were very strict. First grade, my teacher was Sister Mary of the Good Shepherd, and that's how you had to say her name. And in our classroom, if an adult came through our classroom, we had to stand at our desks and say good morning. So if you came in, we would say, "Good morning, Mr. Freeman, God bless you."
Wow.
And then we would sit. And Sister Mary of the Good Shepherd, so every morning we say, "Good morning, Sister Mary of the Good Shepherd, God bless you."
Did that ever get old?
Just used to it.
Sure.
You know, we said our prayers and everything. We had to go to Mass on, I think we went once a week, and then on holy days and stuff. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, a lot of the kids weren't Catholic. They just went to Catholic school because it was a better school. When we started, we weren't Catholic. We joined the church, I think, when I was about 9 years old or something like that. I remember playing with my friends on the playground. I remember your Aunt Pam fell and broke her arm.
Oh, man.
She was very rambunctious, and she was always breaking something. It's always doing something. So she was 2 years younger than I was, and we went through the same schools together. So I probably will end up talking about her a lot.
Sure.
So that was first grade through 8th grade, and then for high school, I went to St. Vincent Academy, which was an all-girls school, also in Newark, New Jersey.
What high school did you go to?
I went to St. Vincent Academy in Newark, New Jersey. And it was was an all-girls Catholic high school,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in Newark, so it was an inner city crowd, predominantly African American and Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might have had one or two Caucasian young ladies.
Wow.
It was Polish. So in a class of a graduating class of 62 girls, I think we might have had 5 Marias.
That's hilarious.
The class valedictorian was Maria, and I think I was second in line or something like that. But there was a lot of Marias. We learned a lot from them. We learned how to speak a few words of Spanish. We learned never to call someone like from the wrong country, like don't call a Dominican, Puerto Rican, and stuff like that. And we learned how to hustle. We used to do the hustle at lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
You know, the hand dance.
I didn't know that was hustling.
Yeah, hand dancing.
Sure. What was it like being in an all-girls school? Was that difficult? You know.
I liked it. I liked it a lot because you didn't have to think about certain things. Like you didn't have to think about, impressing a boy or maybe not showing how smart you were, because some guys don't like that. You didn't have to worry about the rivalry so much of who's gonna get the guy. So that whole dynamic wasn't. It was just kind of nice focusing on school and having fun. Just being yourself. I think I'm not saying that people that went to co-ed high schools couldn't be themselves, but it's just something different about being with all the same sex. It's like you can really figure out who you are and just be that, without extra pressure.
That's true.
So, and we, not all the teachers were nuns, but some of them were nuns. In that period of time, that's when nuns, I don't know if they had just stopped, but they didn't really wear habits that much. So they just kind of dressed like regular clothes. And some of them were really cool. And we did, have dances and stuff. And we had a brother high school. It was all boys high school, St. Benedict's, which is actually, both of those schools are still open in Newark, New Jersey. 75 to 79. We graduated in 1979. And yeah, it was the 70s. It's, weird clothes and colors and platform shoes and kind of bell-bottom stuff,
Sure.
Kind of funny-looking fashion now, but, a lot of people dress like that anyway now.
Yeah. I'd say it's part of the culture now, the 70s and the 80s. So.
They just stole from us, that's all. They just stole.
It's been passed down. All right. What type of music would you listen to?
Oh man. Well, a lot of Earth, Wind and Fire, like Parliament and stuff like that. The funk stuff. I feel like rap was just kind of getting started, but it was like the storytelling rap.
Yeah.
Like,
Rick.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. You always had Michael Jackson and Prince and stuff like that going on too. I may be a little off with my years. I might be mixing up the 70s with the early 80s, but it was all around that time.
Yeah.
A lot of good music, I thought.
Howard University and like getting in to
Howard. So, yeah, I got recruited to come to Howard, and I decided to study engineering because of a summer program I was in New Jersey, where they were trying to expose quote unquote minority and inner city youth to engineering and architecture. So one of my teachers, one of the nuns, suggested that I go. Myself and one other young lady from St. Vincent, and we were exposed to engineering, and that was pretty cool. And we were bright students, so like I said, Howard basically reached out and gave me a full ride. So now Howard has had an illustrious history, but I wasn't really around that many people that really talked about it that much. If anybody went to college, it was more so Rutgers or local state schools. Now, once I decided to go to Howard and was telling people about it, like, whoa, Howard University, how, historic it was and all this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. So, went down there to Washington, D.C., and your grandmother and your Aunt Pam, they dropped me off at Cramden Hall at Howard, one of the oldest dorms, called the Quad. They put the freshmen there. And I'm looking at this place like, is this what the dorm looks in an awesome, historic, well-known university? But, it wasn't that great. So I later found they put the freshmen in the worst dorms.
Yeah.
So I cried. DC was strange to me. People talk with a southern accent. It was like really strange. If you weren't from New Jersey, everybody was a Bama. Everybody south of New Jersey was a Bama. I was just like, what is with these people? But Howard was awesome. I met a lot of my best friends to this day are from Howard. Just people from all over the country, all walks of life, rich, poor. For some reason, you would gravitate, though, towards the people that were from your state. So we had, like, state clubs. We had the Jersey Club, New York Club, Pennsylvania Club, Philly Club. So everybody had a club. It was like, that was kind of weird thinking back. It's like you come all this way to mix and mingle with people from all over the world, but you got to find the people from your neighborhood. Go figure that one. I went to school with people from the Caribbean, from Africa. It was just really eye-opening, and a lot of the things, I got a really good education, at the schools I went to, but I didn't really learn much about African American history or even African history and things of that nature. So I learned a lot. Just picked up a lot from different people that were exposed more. And engineering school, again, it was well known for putting out great engineers, and it was hard. It was really hard. There were a handful of females there at the time I was there. Still not a big field for women, but I like I said, to this day, some of my best friends, female friends, are from Howard Engineering. And the professors were great. Some of them were kind of stupidly hard, but they were great. And I just had a good experience. But one of the people that I met freshman year in Cramden Hall was Patricia Freeman, and she was in the art school. Patricia became one of my best friends, and she would sing anywhere, and she would always tell us about her family in Wilmington, Delaware, and her brothers and sisters, and particularly the twins, the babies. And so, okay, fine. Never really met them. I met her parents. I went to visit, met her parents. But years later, for Patricia's 30th birthday, which by then she had changed her name to Nia and become very Afrocentric, as a lot of people that I knew at Howard were, wouldn't eat pork, changed her name, like I said, wore African clothes, rites of passage, named their children African names. So on her 30th birthday, I went to see her, happy birthday, and met her youngest brother, Scott, and found out he was one of the twins. And so I said, oh, the babies. So I'm looking at him. He's kind of grown up looking, but I'm still thinking he must be really too young for me. Long story short, I found out he was about 3.5 years younger than me, but still, he was an adult. He was legal now, don't get me wrong. And so we basically ended up dating. So I met your dad through my friend, Nia, who I went to Howard with. And now I'm part of the family, and we talk about our former days and former craziness at Howard. And it's just an interesting connection.
Sure. That's an interesting story. Thanks for the interview. I'm glad I could talk to you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brian. This has been enjoyable for me also. And good luck in your education there at Temple University.